Hi, this is Ned Siegfried from Siegfried and Jensen. As proud sponsors of BeliefCast, we hope you are inspired by Todd's weekly podcasts, which contain so many courageous stories of recovery and personal growth. Remember, it's not what happened in the past that matters, it's what happens in the future. We invite you all to work hard and be optimistic about your future. Enjoy today's podcast.
And we are back. This is Todd Sylvester with the Todd Inspires BeliefCast. Thank you for tuning in. You guys are in for a treat today. I'm telling you what, I know I say this often, but man, it's amazing the people that I have on this show. It just blows my mind. And it just makes me realize how amazing people are and how they fight through, adversity and triumph over the things that are in their way. And it just inspires all of us that we can get through the things that we're going through. I want to thank you for believing in me and tuning in week after week and sharing these episodes. I do need to give a shout out to our sponsors, Siegfried and Jensen, Wasatch Recovery, Thread Wallets, and then the music, as always, at the beginning and at the end of this podcast is by my good friend Paul Cardall. He's an award-winning pianist and an amazing human being, and I'm so grateful that he lets me use his music. So today we are joined with the beautiful Ally Jensen. Ally, thank you for joining us.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you. Your mom reached out to me, I don't know, it's probably a little over maybe 2 months ago, and shared a video of your life up to this point. And it really was, I'm choking up just thinking about this, how amazing it was. But also really hard to watch because you've been through a lot, Ally. And we're going to get into that here in a minute. But why don't we start off so our listeners get to know you a little bit? Tell us a little bit about your childhood and a little bit about your family.
Okay, I have the most amazing family in the world. I've got 4 other siblings, 3 brothers and 1 sister. I grew up, my parents always said I was a very happy child. My mom compares me to Disneyland because she was like, she's just the happiest girl in the world.
Wow,
and I loved to flip. I loved to move my body in any way possible. So my sister, she was a dancer, and she kind of started to train me and coach me, and she would stretch me and teach me tricks. And at age 2, seriously, I was doing back handsprings, backflips.
Wow.
Like, seriously.
Yeah.
Just from a young age, loved it and aspired. And just to perform, I loved that as well. And it was my life. I did it for about 12 years, about.
Okay.
And
wow.
Yeah, it's been.
And you knew it when you were, 2 years old.
Yeah.
That this is what I love doing.
Well, I tried everything. I tried soccer. I tried gymnastics. And then I also did piano while I was in gymnastics. In dance as well.
Yeah.
So, I grew up doing that. It was my everything. I would go straight to school, and I would get checked out of school 30 minutes early every day.
Wow,
drive to Provo and be at school dance from 3 to 9 every day. And it was my life. I loved it.
I'll tell you, dancers are the hardest working people out there. I have 3 girls, and they all, 2 of them were on drill team, 1 was on dance company. And the amount of time and energy they put into that is insane.
I know. It is crazy, especially when you want to make it big. And when I was younger, that was my dream to, Broadway or something like that.
Yeah.
It's just the time and dedication. People don't realize it. And you don't realize it unless you have a family member or you're in it yourself. It's a tough one, but it's so rewarding. So rewarding.
No, I love that. I'm really impressed by the way you carry yourself, and, you're here to bring some awareness to our listeners and to the world, and because of some really tough times you have been through. And I think if people saw you today and listening to your voice, if they could sit here, they'd be like, there's nothing wrong with this girl, man.
Exactly.
She's positive. She's happy. She seems like she's got it all together. But what people don't realize is that you're dealing with some pretty heavy health issues. And again, like I said, I was so impressed with how you're dealing with this. And I know you have your ups and downs, obviously, probably more downs than I even am aware of. But you're here to bring some awareness around vascular compression.
Yes.
And so what I'd like to do is maybe explain to our listeners what that is. And then let's go back to age 11 when things started to go maybe in a different direction that you weren't expecting?
Okay. So vascular compressions, it's like an umbrella. Usually if you have one, you usually have a few. Some people have just a few. And that at first was technically called rare. And now it's becoming more common.
Okay.
We're starting to realize what I'm at. I have all compressions and we're still finding more. That's rare, but compressions itself isn't. So it's like a hose. So if a hose gets kinked, water can't get through, right?
Yeah.
So if a vein gets kinked, your blood can't get through.
Okay.
So you're not getting blood to certain organs. So like my renal vein was compressed, so I wasn't getting blood flow to my kidney. So they cut out my renal vein and moved my left kidney to my hip. So that's, for example, like they have to rearrange and kind of put your body in different places.
Like rearrange the plumbing, so to speak, right? Because
Exactly.
To make sure it's flowing correctly.
Yes, exactly.
Gotcha.
And after you find one, usually you find another. It's kind of like one pops up after another. And so that's kind of how I've been dealing through since age 11 to 19. And what kind of causes it all, they don't know anything at all.
Yeah.
Sorry, they don't know a lot of it. Sorry, my brain fog is insane.
No, you're good.
The brain fog is so bad. It's a bad symptom. But it's very unknown. And there's not a lot of doctors in the US that understand it and that want to understand it because it is not easy to understand.
Right.
And there is quite a few. But like I can count them on my hands. And it's sad that I am seeing so many people deal with it and they can't find doctors, they can't find resources to help them, and it's so hard to watch. And sorry, I'm getting kind of off topic.
No, you're good. Well, why don't we do this? So you grew up dancing, you're this powerful, happy Disneyland kid.
Yes.
You know, everything's going in a good direction and you're just loving life as a kid. That's just what we do, right?
Yeah.
At age 11, between ages 11 and 12, you started experiencing some things. So why don't we start from there? Like what happened at age 11 that you noticed that was going on?
Okay. I started peeing so much.
Okay.
Like so much. We were like, what is going on with you? My family would be so mad to do road trips with me because
we gotta stop every 5 miles.
Literally like once an hour. I'm like, I gotta go again. So that was the first symptom. And we started to realize, you know what, this is kind of not normal. Maybe there's some like diabetes or something going on. So we go to primary care, do the basic testing, and everything's totally fine. I was still dancing, 35 hours a week at the time. It was my life.
Wow.
Wasn't changing it. That was everything I wanted to do.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I was not going to change it. And so I made it work. And then I started to get just some pelvic and abdominal pain. Not enough to limit me from dancing, just here and there. That ended up increasing where I would have to miss dance, and that's not me. So it just started
because you never miss dance because that's your passion.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Like, so when we started to see that, we knew something was up. We decided to take me to a urologist, and did the basic testing. He's like, you're good. And then he thought of one disease called interstitial cystitis that I was diagnosed with, and that I did a procedure every 3 months.
Okay.
I went under anesthesia.
Wow.
And they put a medication in my bladder, cracked the lining, made it bleed, and hopefully I could hold my pee for longer.
Yeah.
So that would help me. We did that 9 times. And then we realized this is not working, so we went to a different urologist. She ended up switching me to an in-office procedure once a week, and I did that for 2 years.
So, wow. First of all, wow. That's that's hard for anyone, but let alone 11-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
So how was your mental and emotional state at this time? Is you're dealing with something as a kid? You're going, what is going on?
Honestly, at that time, it was hard, but I was still happy. Like I was still enjoying life.
Yeah.
And I was functioning.
Mm-hmm.
And I look back at that, and I would do anything to be where I was then.
Okay. Wow.
Sorry, there's going to be a lot of tears. I'm kind of...
That's why I've got the tissues next to you. Please, this is a safe place to cry.
I'm still kind of fighting for my life right now, so it's, it's hard. But as 11-year-old, it is tough to realize that things are going to have to change.
Yeah.
And your life isn't going to be as normal anymore. I held on to dance for a while. I made it work. I would miss classes here and there.
Yeah.
Till about 15 years old. And I was going to doctors, weekly. I was in the hospital 3 or 4 times a week doing testing. I've done every testing known to man. Literally anything you can imagine, I've done. Just to try and figure out what's going on.
Well, and also, correct me if I'm wrong, but doctors were even doubting you, like, hey, this is just something mental.
Yes.
And people even at some point maybe even thinking maybe she's a little crazy here. It's not, and you're thinking, am I going crazy? Because no, this is really happening. Is
100%.
that part of the battle, right?
Yes, that is one of the hardest parts about the battle is you are fighting for someone to believe you 24/7. And I'm 9 years in the journey, and I'm still I feel like I'm drowning, like just struggling for one person to listen to me still to this day.
Yeah.
And
man,
that is the hard thing about it. I want people to not feel like that. You feel alone, and you feel like invalidated, and you feel like you are going crazy, even though it's real.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's the first thing they go to is an eating disorder, because my stomach started to hurt. I mean, when I was eating, it was hurting, and
and you're thin, and they're probably thinking,
I'm young, and it does look like that, and that's hard, and I know it's so real. I know that.
Yeah.
And I don't want to discredit those that do go through that. It's so real. But for me, that's not what was happening, and I have always been told that is what's happening, and I've tried everything. They've tried they said reprogramming your brain. That's what I had to do. And, just everything, every therapy that we could to, mentally fix me. We tried it, we tried it.
Because you're thinking, well, maybe there's something to it.
Yeah. I tried everything because I just wanted something to work. I wanted relief, and I wanted any answer, just any answer.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
So eventually you get to a point, and again, you're testing after testing, and all these different diagnoses that were off and not correct. And did this lead up to when you went to Germany for a surgery?
So right before that, before we led up to that, I got introduced to a family in my same city, Draper, and there was a daughter that had the same thing. She actually was friends with my brother, and she told me at the beginning of my journey, like, this is what I deal with. I doubt you have this going on. This is rare, but like, this is what I deal with.
Oh, wow.
And our mothers connected from there on.
Did that feel good, at least knowing that, hey, I'm not alone?
Oh, 100%.
I bet.
100%. It was like the first validating feeling I felt then. Like, it was everything for me.
Yeah.
And, so they first kind of guided us to go to the right doctors and the right surgeons. Usually what happens to someone who is in my situation, they have no direction, no guidance in where to go. So they kind of struggle just bouncing doctor to doctor, which I did 4 years, from 11 to 14, testing and asking doctors to believe me. But around age 14, she suggested I go see a surgeon here in Salt Lake, and he tested me for a compression, which I most certainly had, and then he sent me to a different surgeon in Connecticut, and I flew there and got a surgery there. And then I still was doing horribly, and when you're told at the beginning of this, it's like, after this surgery, you'll be better, you're good, like, your plumbing will be fixed. Your blood will be flowing. You're good.
So describe the feeling, though. You're hurting. Like, what does it feel like for our listeners who may not know? Like, what did it feel like when you say you're not doing well? What does it feel like?
Like physically and emotionally?
Yes.
So physically, when I get in so much pain, it's like one touch, one flick, one little thing is too much on my body.
Oh, okay.
So like when I have pain, my pain radiates everywhere. And yes, I have localized pain in my stomach, in my pelvis, in my back, in my leg, but then it radiates everywhere and I feel aching and stabbing everywhere. So that puts me obviously in a horrible mental state, because how are you supposed to go do the things you love when you can't even get yourself to get out of bed and brush your teeth and take your meds? Like that feels like the hardest thing ever. And it is honestly disappointing, especially at the age I am at and was at, because how are you supposed to be 14 and 15 and wondering, like, how am I going to do this another day?
Oh my gosh.
And that's how it felt. It feels like that in the moment. And you can't, and it's hard to get out of it. You start to spiral. And obviously I have now learned coping mechanisms, and they don't all work all the time, and I do struggle still.
Sure.
But back then it was hard because I had no coping mechanisms. I had no guidance. I just felt alone. Like it just was lonely, and I had that one person, and she was the only person that made me feel validated. And that's how I got through it, through those years, was her. Really, it was her. Knowing that she just felt the same way.
Yeah, she understands and she gets you. And and how important that is for all of us when we're going through something hard. But this is another level of hard.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't even imagine, Ally, what you're going through in this at that particular time. And I know you're still dealing with it now, but I'm blown away that you're even sitting here with me and smiling and doing what you're doing. So is this then, is that when it got to the point after that surgery back east and it wasn't doing what you thought it was going to do? Is that leading you to going to Germany?
Roughly? So we did that. Then we came back here to Salt Lake. I went to a different surgeon. He actually diagnosed me with a different compression. That one was the renal vein compression, where he moved my kidney. I still was doing horrible with that. We moved on to another doctor that was for a different compression called SMA. And each compression is called a different thing because it's different arteries. So that's like my superior mesenteric artery compressed.
Oh, okay.
So SMA for short. He did a surgery. Then I didn't see relief. And at this time, I'm on a feeding tube. I'm not eating anything by mouth. I'm not getting out of bed. I can't dance anymore. And I'm on online school. And I am like, help me. Like, seriously, help me.
Yeah.
And I started to reject my feeding tube. I would throw up everything. So we went to a PICC line. I was getting nutrients through that. And you can only do that for so long. It's hard on your liver.
Right.
And usually in the end you need a liver transplant, or you kind of just you just end up passing because it's just hard on your body. And we were going doctor to doctor just saying, what can we do? And we found out I had another compression, and a different radiologist ended up putting a stent in one of my veins. And I have another disease called Ehlers-Danlos, which is a connective tissue disease. My connective tissue doesn't work, which leads to these compressions. Okay. And not everybody has that, but I do. And a lot of people do. With Ehlers-Danlos, you're not ever supposed to have a stent, which is like a metal. It's like almost like a fence, type of texture in your vein. It perforated my vein, went through it, and hit my aorta, which is, one of your biggest veins in your body.
Yeah, right.
So I quickly declined.
Yeah.
And I was done. I couldn't do the pain anymore. I couldn't do the mental anymore. And not one doctor in the U.S. would see me. Everybody said I'm either going to die, I'm either going to lose a limb, or I'm a liability. And they can't take me So that's when we kind of accepted everything then. Just thought, let's live my life till we can, and I did get some amazing experiences. I mean, my parents are amazing.
Yeah.
The support they give me and my family, they give me so much support. And they still try to show me life and let me live life in these experiences.
So I know this is going to be a tough question, but I want to ask, like, so you hear this, no doctor wants to see you, you know, they're basically saying you're probably going to die.
Mm-hmm.
What is I mean, I can't even imagine what's going through your mind. And yes, you had all this support, but what, if you don't mind me asking, and I know this is a tough question, like, what were you thinking about death? Were you thinking, okay, what's that going to look like? And
oh yeah,
I mean,
100%.
I would imagine, again, yeah. I know that's a tough question.
No, I am happy to answer that because it's so real. It was what was happening, and it still happens to this day at times. I obviously was sad, obviously.
Sure.
I don't want to leave my loved ones. I don't want to leave my supporting family and my friends. But when you're in that amount of pain and nobody wants to help you, I was okay with it. I accepted it. Really? And I was ready, and I thought, you know what? If this is my time, it's my time, and I believe I'm a strong believer that God knows when it's your time, and God has a plan for you. And I thought, if this is my plan, that's okay. And I'm all right with that. And I accepted it, and we were okay. We were happy with that, and we just wanted to live our memories together and get some trips in and some memories in. Yeah. And that's when my mom came across a doctor in Germany. World-renowned, amazing surgeon. Yeah. And she reached out to him, and they have different testing in Germany that we don't have here in the U.S. So he said, why don't you just come for testing? Like, let's not even think about surgery. Yeah, let's just see. Come for testing. Yeah. So we flew to Leipzig, Germany, and it's hard. You have to think about, I'm carrying formula, like all my supplies. I'm in a wheelchair. We have all of our bags. So, and then we're in Leipzig, Germany, so we're like, we kind of want to have fun. So let's go travel a little bit. Let's make some fun out of this. And so we went to Prague and Vienna and, you know, went to some places and made it fun, tried to make it fun. Yeah. But it was a lot to carry everything. Like, I can imagine. And it was just my mom with me. So it's just like, it was crazy. My aunt came for some of the time, which was good. Yeah. But it was amazing. And we found results, more compressions. And so I flew back to the U.S. to give them this information and say, hey, can you do something with this? Like, I know what's wrong with me now. Can you fix it? And no doctors would say Still no. And we were like, okay, well, this Germany doctor was like, I'll do it. I'll try it. And gosh. He said he could get us in like within the next week. So we hopped on a flight like literally within days. And right back. Went right back. And that was in November. And we were over there for Thanksgiving and into December. And I got a major surgery that absolutely did change my life. It helped me live on. And I was really, really close. We said goodbye. I mean, even into the surgery, we thought I wouldn't even make it out of the surgery. Wow. Like your mom mentioned in that video you guys put together that she thought when you went to Germany, she wasn't sure you were coming back. Yeah, exactly. And we knew that. Everyone in my family knew that. I knew that. And we accepted it. And we said our goodbyes. And we were okay with that. And jeez. I can't even remember the night before my surgery. I can't even imagine. Wow. I just remember the calls from my family, just seeing how much they loved me and supported me. And, you know, I have so many angels, and I do want to talk about that. And that my angels were carrying me. And I just remember just thinking, you know, everything is going to happen. What's supposed to happen. And I'm going to be all right no matter what. Even if I do make it out. it'll be okay. And if I don't, that's okay too.
Mm.
So we were okay. We were accepting it, and we were all right with that.
Yeah.
And I remember waking up from surgery, and I'm like, what? Like, am I alive?
Wow. So you were surprised.
Yeah.
Holy
I was
cow.
like, there's no way. I heard my mom in the background, and I don't remember this. But I guess my mom, the surgery went on super long. It was like an 8-hour surgery, and
Jeez.
my mom wasn't getting updates, and I overheard my mom's voice in the back, and I just called out, Mom, where are you? I can hear you. And she heard me in the back and just came running back. I'm so sorry.
No, don't be sorry. Holy cow.
And it was amazing. It was amazing to be alive.
Yeah.
It really was.
And then I mean, obviously, I don't even know what that's like, what that would feel like, but to be surprised that I'm here, I'm alive, I made it through that surgery, and I think you ate your first meal, and like
I had my first. I had some French fries.
You had some French fries. You finally got to eat something, like literally eat something that wasn't coming through a tube.
Yeah.
And so, and I think you even mentioned you had noticed, you had some scars on you from these surgeries because they had to cut you in several different areas.
Oh yeah. Yes.
And I think you initially thought, oh, this is tough that I've got these scars, but then immediately went, I'm alive.
Yeah. It's like, I look at them now, and it's amazing. Like, I can't be ashamed of them. I can't ever be afraid to hide them, because it shows that, I'm a warrior. I did this, and I still do this every day.
Ooh, you are a warrior.
Thanks.
There's no doubt. That's a perfect word, a warrior. Well, I would love, if you're okay with it, you're talking about these angels in your life.
Yes.
Let's talk about that, because that stuff, I love talking about that.
So I have a few amazing angels that I feel extremely connected with. One being my mom's father. He passed away from cancer when she was young in college.
Yeah.
And it was tough on them. It was really, really tough. And I have always just felt really connected with him. He was an amazing guy. And I know he's watching over me, even though I didn't get to meet him.
Yeah.
He's there for me.
Wow.
And my dad's dad also passed, and I feel extremely connected to him too.
Really?
And
okay.
for an example, so I have a cousin that can see spirits and see things.
Yeah.
And the other day, I went to church with my mom, and I was on my cane, and she was helping me. I couldn't really walk. And my cousin came up to me, and she said, Grandpa Jensen's holding you up on the other side. I can see him.
Wow.
He's holding you physically right now,
Yeah.
and I can see it. And
Jeez.
to hear that is so amazing, to know that I have them there for me. I also, 2 years ago, I started dating this most amazing guy ever. Amazing. Literally the biggest blessing I've ever had.
Yeah.
He's been through some hard stuff. His mom and brother were taken from him. And I know they're there for me too.
Yeah.
I feel really connected to them. And I talk to them often.
Yeah.
And they show me signs all the time that they're there.
That's amazing.
So those people, I have a great grandma too, Ella, that I'm named after. So seriously, I could just name a million little angels that I know, and I even feel before I go into surgery. I'm sitting there on the table, they're putting the medication in my IV, they're doing everything, strapping me down to the table.
Yeah.
And I try not to get anxious, and I just look up at the sky and just think of my angels just right next to me in the room.
Yeah.
And I know they are. It's amazing. I know they are every time I'm in the operating room, doctor's office, they're there. I know that for a fact.
That's incredible. Thanks for sharing that. I know it's a special thing for you to talk about, kind of stuff like that. So thank you for sharing that. I know you have some earthly that are here that are angels. We talked about one before we started.
Yes.
Let's talk about her for a second.
She's amazing. Jill Kessler.
Jill Kessler. Okay, this is for you, sweetheart. We love you. You're the best. You really
Jill,
are.
I cannot believe her. She has been my saving grace. And I cannot thank her enough for what she's brought to my life. So, she had breast cancer. And I remember I've known her son since young. And him and I hung out ever since like 6th grade, like super young. And I remember in 7th grade when I'm in the midst of the heart and I had my first surgery, I got my first scar. It was just a few inches big.
Yeah, sure.
Just a few inches big, just one scar. Yeah. I went over and I'm like bawling. Yeah. And I'm like, look at me. And I'm like, and I'm not even better. And what's going on? And she just gave me a hug. And I felt the peace and hope come over me. And she just said, you need to thank your body for everything it's doing all the time.
Wow.
And that's the biggest advice I would give anybody. And it's helped me the most. I sit there in the mirror naked, seriously, and I say, thank you, stomach, for working when you can, or letting the tube feed me, or thank you for the veins that I can get fluids through, or thank you for the feet that can get me out of bed when I can get out, or just the small things like that help you feel more grounded and make you feel more at peace with things and okay with things. And when she told me that in that moment, it was like, everything's okay. I'm okay.
Yeah.
I'm all right.
What a beautiful thing to teach you in the moment that you needed it the most.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Jill truly is the best. And I mean, everyone who knows Jill would say she's the best.
I know.
We can't even put it in words, right? We're both crying right now, by the way. And I know you talk to Jill a lot. What would you want to tell Jill right now?
I just would want to tell her how much of a amazing energy and spirit she is, and the light and love she brings even without saying anything. I mean, I saw her a couple days ago and I was in the dumps. I was really, really struggling. I said, Jill, I just don't know if I can do this anymore. I'm having a hard time. The pain is hard and nothing's working. I can't find answers. And she just gave me a hug and just said, I love you so much. And that's okay to feel like that.
Yeah.
And just that small little interaction, I was like, you are an angel. So I just want to say thank you for everything she's ever done, every advice. I mean, there's been times where I call her and I'm just like, help, please.
Yeah.
She comes to every hospital stay I'm in. She's
really?
there.
Wow.
Everything. She has been my rock. And I could not thank her enough for what she's brought to the table for me.
Wow. We all need a Jill in our life.
Oh, yes.
For sure, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, we talked about this. She's been on this podcast before, and I was just blown away at her and just her wisdom and her love and compassion for people in general. I mean, just it exudes from her body. Mm-hmm. And like you said, she's an amazing energy. That's a great way to say it. Yeah, like she walks in the room, you just go, bam, and
I almost
it's
feel like
wow.
healed around her. It's like It's like such a healing, powerful, amazing energy. It's just, it's amazing. I love it.
Thanks for sharing that. And I'm sure she'll really be happy to hear this when she hears it, right?
Yeah.
So you have this surgery in Germany. Things are looking like they're going in a good direction. You come back home.
Yeah.
Things are looking up.
Yeah, we're doing great then. I'm eating.
You're eating finally.
I'm eating food and I'm stoked about it. I'm so excited.
Stuff we take for granted.
Yes.
You're actually eating real food, which we take for granted.
Eating food and drinking water.
Yeah.
Like, hallelujah. Thank you, God. Like, thank you. I was working out. And actually at that time, I graduated high school a year and a half early. And I just had graduated and I just was so proud of myself. I did it and I was like, I'm doing better. And I saw improvements for a couple months and I started nursing school and I was excited. I was doing good.
Yeah.
And until I wasn't, it seems about once a year, I get really, really bad. I get close to the veil a couple times.
Really? So going back to where you're in the excruciating pain again and all that, so it like comes back. Okay.
And usually it's a different symptom, different compression, different thing. And like right after that, I started to urinate a lot of blood, and then a lot of right flank pain. And my doctors had no idea what it was. No idea. Like, beyond them, went and saw a million urologists, nephrologists, nothing. My surgeon here, he said, well, let's just do an auto transplant. So let's move your right kidney to your hip and see if that helps. Maybe you have a compression somewhere that we don't know. So we moved my kidney and I actually saw some improvement. I stopped urinating blood and my pain went away. But then my eating pain came back. So whenever I ate or drank anything, it hurt. And then fatigue and then everything, all of that started rushing back. And in Germany, they did a surgery that they don't do a lot. I mean, it's...
Yeah.
He said he's never done the surgery. I was the first surgery he's ever done.
Wow.
And what was actually amazing about that is he woke up in the middle of the night right before my surgery and was like, I know what I'm going to do. And I've never done this before, but I know what I'm going to do.
Really?
And he came in the next day and was like, I've never done this before, but I've watched it and I want you guys to trust me. So he took my right vein from my saphenous vein from my right leg, made a graft across my pelvis from it, and put in this thing called a fistula at the beginning of it. And then that's how I get the blood up to my heart and head now, is through that vein.
No way.
And the fistula is hard. You put that there at the beginning when you usually close it. It's what keeps a vein open and patent when you first put it there.
Yeah.
But it was actually equalizing the pressure in my system and it was helping me. And so we decided to keep it open.
Yeah, you thought, well, if it's working.
Yeah, like let's try. And then I started to feel a lot of pain in my pelvis again. So we closed it partially. My surgeons went in and put a little string around it and just closed it halfway. And then I saw some improvement, and then I'm got bad again. And then I got really bad again. Probably back last June. I started to see decline in things. This fistula pain got so bad, horrible. And this Germany doctor was like, I don't know. And he said, just close it, shut it down, just take it out, or just shut the fistula down.
Shut it down, yeah.
And so there's no blood flow. And obviously we don't want to fly back to Germany. I mean, that's not obviously very realistic money-wise and just lifestyle-wise.
For sure, yeah.
And so we're just trying to figure it out. So my doctor goes in, my surgeon goes in, and he actually found an aneurysm in my fistula.
Wow.
And we were so lucky it didn't burst.
Yeah.
So lucky. It was huge. And my doctor came panicking and running out of the surgery. My mom, she said he still had his surgery glasses, his everything on. He was like, I'm not supposed to be out here, but I don't know what to do. He was like, I just don't know what to do with your daughter. She has an aneurysm.
You're kidding.
And he said there's 2 options. We can try and just close it, or we can take it out and connect the vein, the saphenous vein in my pelvis, to your femoral vein in your leg. So 2 veins that are not supposed to be connected together. Connect them.
Connect them, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
and
my
he's like,
gosh.
you have to decide. So my mom's like, it's beyond her.
I can't even imagine. Yeah.
Like, we'd have no idea. She said they didn't know if I was going to make it out of the surgery too. And my boyfriend was there, and it was hard. They all had to make a decision, and they decided to take out the fistula. So we took out the fistula in November. I still get a lot of pain in there, and it's gotten increasingly worse. Almost like unbearable now. And they don't know what it is. They thought it was a sonoma a few days ago. They went in and got an ultrasound. Right above it, my doctor went in. He's like, there's this like mass, something above your artery, like right on top of the artery that we connected. And he's like, it looks like a sonoma, so I'm going to put a needle in it and like, let's try to take out some liquid. So we get like a couple inch needle out, and we try to pull out some liquid, and nothing comes out. And we had to use a smaller gauge needle because it was so close to the artery. Yeah. So he's like, maybe it's not coming out because the smaller gauge needle, but I'm going to switch out the syringes and inject a steroid in there. And if this works, it could dissipate and just go away, you know? So we tried that.
So they're still just guessing.
Yes. And that didn't work. So now we're trying to figure out the next step. It's just so crazy. I look back and I've had over 60 procedures and surgeries, and I just think, how did I do that?
Yeah. How?
How did I get through that?
Well, I mean, me sitting over here, you know, and just you're a tough son of a gun. You are tough, but you got these angels in your life who aren't here that are supporting you. You got people here who are supporting you, but you really are a miracle, honestly.
Exactly.
You really are, and I say that with all the love and compassion I could show to you. Like, you really are, and you just prove how precious life is. You prove to us that, you know, even though you're going through a hard thing, you can still choose to be happy and have a good attitude, despite, I'm sure you have your moments because you're human. But to overall, I mean, I guess one of the biggest questions that leads up to is, how are you doing this? Like, yes, you've gone through all these surgeries and procedures, but how are you handling this, like, mentally, emotionally, spiritually even? Mm-hmm. And how has faith maybe played a part in this?
So, before I went to Germany, so I was about 16, almost 16 maybe before then, I started to go to a counselor. We're like, let's get me in therapy. Let's figure this out. I'm really struggling mentally. Yeah. So I actually started to see a therapist at Primary Children's, and that works with sick and dying children, because we thought, you know, I'm dying, this is so we need to prepare me. And that's actually what got me to accepting it.
Okay.
And being okay with it. And so I worked with her, and that got me okay for there. And as I the past few years, I've actually switched different counselors to find what needs they fit better, and, you know,
right,
different guidance, and that obviously helps. But the few things that I think really help me keep going are just the beautiful sunsets.
Yeah.
I call them my little moments of my happiness.
Yeah.
It's like, no matter how bad my day is, or how bad a day is to anybody, there's that like one glance of beauty once a day.
Yeah.
And even if it's just for a second, even if it's just a little pink sky, it's like that 1 second. That's so beautiful. And I want to see more beautiful things like that, so I'm going to hold on. Another thing is we have a gratitude board. So we write down every day, what are we grateful for?
Love
That helps so much. And then also every morning I actually recently just got a puppy.
right
I'm
on.
gonna train him to be my service dog. We're really excited.
Oh, nice.
And
Is it a lab or?
It's a Portuguese water dog.
Oh,
He's
really?
amazing. He's
Nice.
beautiful.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Seriously amazing. It's so weird. It's like we just gravitated toward each other, and I felt so connected with him, and I've had him about a month and a half now. And he has been like my rock the past couple months.
Aren't dogs amazing?
Amazing?
They're amazing.
Amazing.
Like they can read you, they know you, they feel you, they love you. They know when you're down.
Yeah, it's like from the moment when like him and I met, I went and met a litter of puppies, and it's like he like knew I was sick. It's like he knew I was going through hard things, and what he did the first time I met him, he just sat on my lap and cuddled me the whole entire time.
Oh my gosh.
And the puppy breeder said, this one is really, really cuddly. I don't know why, just for some reason he's really cuddly.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's because he's meant for me.
Yeah.
And I'm in bed so much, so that's amazing. And so I brought him home, and he has been just such a happy light.
What'd you name him?
Bowie.
Bowie?
Yes. His name is Bowie, yes.
Bowie. Wow.
Yes, he's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, man, there's so much I want to ask you.
I know, I could go on.
No,
There's so much.
One of the questions I had, you like you mentioned earlier, you've been a dancer since you were 2 years old. You've worked really hard at it. You're passionate about dancing. How has what you learned in dancing helped you deal with this adversity and health issues now?
It gives me the determination and the resilience.
Yeah.
I feel like as a dancer, you have to be determined and stay determined to be successful and to be good.
Yeah.
And I wanted to be good. And so I put in the work, and I wanted to do everything I could do to make it. And that helped me gain such an amazing perspective on life, just to apply that in every single aspect in your life, because no matter how determined, and if you put all your determination and you are resilient into everything you give, everything will work out the way it's supposed to. And it will be in your best favor. It will come out the way it's supposed to be because you gave your all. And that's what I love. I love to say, I will try anything and everything. I will try anything and everything, because it's like, if it's going to help me, I'll do it. Like, I do feedings all day, almost 24/7, like that's not fun. I'm on IV antibiotics for a kidney infection. That's not fun. Daily fluids through a PICC line. That's not fun. But with like determination and resilience, it's like, it's okay. Like, it's all right that, the first 6 hours of my morning, I'm trying to get my meds in and get me hooked up and get my fluids in me. And, but yeah, it's definitely taught me to just keep my head focused and to just do it no matter what. There's no way around it but through it. And that's what it taught me for sure.
Wow, that's an amazing answer. Thank you for sharing that. Powerful. I know I say this to my clients that I work with a lot, that life happens for us. I really do believe that. And it's hard to tell someone that when you're in the midst of the struggle. Right? And you hear this and you go, well, thanks, Todd. That sounds great. Appreciate it. But I know that one of your passions now is you want to bring awareness around this.
Yes.
Because it's so uncommon. No one talks about, like, even said doctors were like going, well, we can't work on you here. Sorry. And it's almost like, your passion for dancing, and now you got this passion for, I want to bring awareness around this.
Yes.
And you and your family are creating these charities and things like that. So I'd love you to talk a little bit about that and what this looks like and why you're so passionate about this.
Yeah. So I do want to touch, I do think that when I had to set dance aside for a second.
Yeah.
Try and refocus. And
Yeah.
with all of these things, like nursing school, I had to set aside. And
Yeah.
it's hard to feel like I don't have I feel like I don't have a purpose.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's like I'm not working towards anything. And so it's hard.
Mm-hmm.
And I just try to dig deep and feel like, what could I do to help? What could I do to find fulfillment somewhere?
Yeah.
And I just want to raise awareness for this group and for this disease and for these diseases, because I know how lonely and how sad it can be and how invalidating, and it's just so sad the places that you can get from not having answers and from being dismissed.
Yeah.
I mean, there has been multiple patients that have taken their lives because they have doctors saying it's an eating disorder or this is in your head. So it's serious. I mean, we are seeing this often. And so when I hear that, I just have such a passion to let's educate these doctors. Let's help these people. Let's help these people find resources and give them the doctors and the information that they need to get through it. Yeah. So they don't have to take their lives and sit in pain and think about, oh, well, should I sit in pain for another day, or should I take my life, or do I need to sit? I'm going to be sitting in pain my rest of my life and not have answers for the rest of my life. Like, that is the loneliest feeling in the world. I can't
even imagine. Yeah. And
so my family, we are creating a charity and wanting to raise a fund to educate these doctors and to help people who can't pay for things, and to also just give people the resources that they need to get through it or to even get started. Yeah. Because I'm not through it. I mean, 9 years later, I'm not through it. Like, you don't just get through it. You just have to get started. Yeah. And that's the hardest thing, is you don't know where to get started because you don't have anything to tell you or anyone to tell you how to get started. Right. So I want to be that person for somebody. I want to advocate for those people. I want to tell the doctors and educate the doctors that this is how you should be dealing with these patients. I mean, you can't dismiss them. You can't treat them like a mental health patient when you are physically in 9 out of 10 pain 24/7, 7 days out of week. 7 days of the week. Yeah. That's better.
Yeah, that's we knew what you meant there. But yeah, I mean, well, and it's like when you found out that other girl in Draper had the same thing, how that just felt so comforting just to know that you weren't alone. Yeah. And I think that's what I'm hearing you. It's like people, hey, you're not alone in this, and we can talk about these things, and we can help support, and I'm so glad you're going to be doing those charities, because I think especially you've realized going through this that, man, there's so much, lack of knowledge and unawareness around all this.
Yes. And I am excited too. My doctor will be doing a charity as well, and that he'll be raising money to help the doctor standpoint as well. So that will be very helpful. So I'm excited to bring awareness for that as well, and to educate doctors. And here in Salt Lake, we have a few girls that have some pretty complex things. There's 4 girls that have the really complex things that my doctor cannot figure out. Figure out. Yeah. He's like, you guys are just my headache.
Yeah, right.
But we all are really close. Yeah. Close-knit, talk.
That's awesome.
Weekly. I mean, I talk to them multiple times a week.
That's great.
And I'm wanting to create that for everybody, because those 3 other girls, they help me push and live every day.
That's great.
I mean, one of them has been hospital bound and bed in bed for 2 years, laying down flat, and been in the hospital for 6 months now.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
That is so heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Especially to know that I know what she's physically going through.
Yeah, you know what she's going through, yeah.
And so I just want to create this amazing community and create this family of people to help them, and so we can all feel supported and lifted and guided. And I want us to have this amazing energy and spirit and have this faith of we're gonna be okay. We're okay. We can have hope. We can trust God. We can believe in God, because in these hard times, it's hard to be like, why me? Like, if God's real, then why would he put this in my life? Why would he make me feel like this 24/7? Yeah. So it tests your faith so hard.
Oh, man.
And you are like, heck life.
Yeah, right.
Really, you get to like, sucks. What is this life thing? You're like, this is not real. Like, I can't believe...
That's Ally doing her best not to swear.
Yes, so. That is me. That is me, not trying to swear.
But no, I totally understand what you're saying. And really, maybe one of the reasons, and again, I'm not saying I understand this completely, but maybe one of the reasons you've gone through this is for you to actually be the catalyst and the fuel behind creating all these things you're talking about.
I actually feel like that's my purpose. Yeah. And that's what I feel like my purpose has grown to be as I've had to shift from dance to something else. I just finally feel like I really can make a difference. Yeah. And I want to make that difference. Yeah. And I have the determination and resilience for that. And my family does too. So we will fight until we make a difference. Yeah. And so I'm so excited to help someone, to give them a little hope, to help them believe in God a little more, to help them have the faith. I'm excited to make a difference in one person's life. Yeah.
Well, a lot of people are hearing this right now, and I guarantee you it's making a difference, because anyone listening to this who has a heart will feel your love, your passion, even your pain, and be blown away by, again, the way you carry yourself. It really is like
Thank you.
I mean, I almost am not worthy to be in this room with you. Seriously.
Oh my gosh.
It feels that way. Well, again, because I find me complaining about things, and I sit there and why am I complaining about this? It's nothing. It's like literally nothing. And,
but it's also relevant in our lives, though. Yeah, right. Like, we're all going through these things, and everything's relevant. And so I just, I do want to say that, like, it is hard when you are in your own situations, because you can't, like you said, when you're in the midst of things, you can't see a light. I mean, you can't find that hope. So it is all relevant. It really is.
Well, that leads to this question. You've already shared some amazing insight and some advice for all of us. But if there's someone listening to your voice this very moment who's in a dark place, maybe for different reasons, obviously, than what you're going through, but they're still there, like you said, it's all relative, but they're in that dark space and they're not sure what to do, what would you tell that person right now, Ally?
I would tell them, when there are days when you're in pain and you don't want to do it, that's when you need to do it the most. Mm-hmm. So get outside and live through the pain, and that's when you can find the hope. Because when you're stuck inside yourself and in your head, and say I'm in bed and I'm in so much pain, I'm struggling mentally, I can't find answers, I'm not seeing any improvement, my pain is 9 out of 10, and then I think, you know what? I'm just going to get bundled up, and I'm going to take my dog in the backyard and play with him for an hour. Yeah. And that usually can bring me to do 1 more hour of the day. Yeah. Or 2 more hours of the day. Yeah. That helps me get through my days, because sometimes even just an hour feels like too much. Yeah. So I would just say, push to live through the pain, push to love through the pain, and push to have a life through the pain. Yeah.
Wow. Great advice. And again, this is mind blowing. You truly are a warrior.
Thank you.
I mean, you really are. And I know that this is going to touch a lot of hearts, and anything I can do, and anyone listening to this that can help contribute to your cause, I'm gonna ask all of us to do something to help you. If that's donating to your charity, if that's donating some time or money or whatever you need.
Even just for me, like
or just talking to you and saying hello and
saying hi. Or for me, I've started to actually post on social media and really show the real life, because I feel like in this generation and everything, it's so hard.
Well, I'm laughing because I think you were showing like, this is what my day looks like, and you were turning on your shower to get in the shower, and then you showed your dog was in there.
Yeah.
The dog was in the shower.
Yeah. Yes. And I'm trying to show, like, this is real life.
Yeah, this is what I'm doing, Will. Yeah.
Yeah, and I even so, for as you're saying, to help, even if it's just a repost of a post that I just posted saying this is what I'm going through, like, just to bring the awareness to everybody, because just for someone to feel like they're recognized, that's all I want. Yeah, is just to give someone hope.
Wow, I love that. Well, we're going to put all the links to everything in the show notes of this. Like I said, I'll support, and anytime, when things go live, I'll help support that and repost. And, we could even have you back on the show after things are really up and running in that area, and we can just bring more, if you're willing.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
Yeah, it'd be fun. This is just a thought, is have you and Jill on at the same time.
Oh my gosh.
Tell me that wouldn't be epic.
That would be amazing.
Let's do it. We're going to make that happen. It just came to me, right?
Let's
this
do
very
it.
second just came to me. We're going to do that.
Jill, plan on it.
Jill, buckle up. Be ready now. Yeah, we need a buckle up for Jill, right?
Exactly.
That's the other way around. Well, Ally, I could talk to you all day, and I just can't thank you enough for having the courage and the strength, and you're sitting here with this positive attitude. I'm sure you're in some pain, and you're here live in my office, and I can't thank you enough that you were willing to do this and share this with us today.
Well, thank you for having me. I really appreciate you willing to bring me on here and just talk about it. It's hard to relate to people, and it's just amazing when we finally do. I know that the connections and the energy that you can feel after is just amazing. Yeah. And I already feel that from you. You're like, oh, cool. Like just a friend now. It's amazing.
I feel the same about you, Ally.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. I once heard that when you're never more fully alive when you're connected. Yeah, I agree. And here we are connecting right now, and I it's just amazing, and I consider you a friend as well, and your mom and your family, and since we know Jill, we're all family now, right? Thanks to Jill. And anyway, Jill's probably like, quit talking about me. This is Ally's thing. But yeah, Ally, you're amazing. I want everyone listening to this right now. Obviously, you were touched listening to Ally's story. If you know anyone who's struggling, please share this episode with them. Because no matter what they're going through, Ally understands. Ally gets it. She understands what it feels like to feel hopeless. And most of us don't understand what it feels like to be on the brink of death, and to be able to still have a positive attitude through all that. But this will help them, and it'll help spread the word. And please just reach out to Ally. Ally, if someone wants to follow you on Instagram or TikTok or Facebook, whatever you're on, what's the best way, and what is your handle, I guess?
So on Instagram, I'm A_Jensen94, and then on TikTok, I'm Ally Jensen94.
Okay.
I answer all messages. I answer all questions. I get things weekly, I bet I'm dealing with this and this. Where can I go? So seriously, anybody can reach out for anything. I love helping. So yeah. And again, it's the connection piece. Yes, it allows you to connect with people. Let's create a family and a community. Do it. And let's build this and keep moving forward. So reach out to Ally, everybody, please. She wants to hear from you, and she will answer you. Yes. And she'll be honest with you too. And that's one thing I love about your posts, is you're very vulnerable. You just, I'm having a bad day right now. Yeah. I'm just going to be honest with you guys. Right now sucks. Yeah. And I need a prayer from you. And and I just love that vulnerability, and I appreciate that more. I think it's important to share. I feel like in this day and age, you don't see that a lot. So I think it's very important. Yeah. Well, thanks again, Ally. You're the best. Thank you. Truly. Thank you for having me. Truly a warrior. Yeah, you bet. Well, there you go, guys. I told you were in for a treat today. This was amazing.
Ally's the best. Just has a spirit about her that I can't even explain, and I'm the lucky one. I get to sit here with her. But I want to thank our sponsors again, and again for the music. Paul Cardall, thank you for letting us use it. And, you know, guys, I do this podcast because I love you. And and I love my guests who are willing to be vulnerable on here. And if you're struggling, just know we're in this together, and we're here. Let's have each other's backs no matter what it is. So I love you guys. And till next time, all right? Take care, everybody.